Have you ever had a solitary evening following a heated argument with your grown child and felt at a loss to ask what went wrong? When did the respect evaporate? Maybe they yelled, disregarded your counsel, or treated your opinion as not matter. You feel hurt, not for a need to control, but because love and respect had been the foundation of the bond. And now, unbeknownst to you, the bond feels altered. If that is you, be assured, you are not alone. Even many good, upright parents, faithful, praying individuals who have loved and chastised their kids with love, find that they are tiptoeing on eggshells around the very individuals they used to rock to sleep. Agonizing, perplexing, lonely at times. But the beautiful reality is that God has not left you high and dry without guidance. The Bible is full of advice on honor, humility, and the type of love that heals damaged respect without bitterness. So today we are going to look at something incredibly deep: how to regain your adult children's respects in 6 Christ-like ways. No arguments, no guilt trips, no confrontations, because if you do it the way Jesus told us to, you not only regain their respects, you regain peace, healing, and grace back into your home again. Let's start with a bold reminder. Influence is not demanded, but is cultivated. Just as Jesus influenced by humility and example, influence on your kids doesn't necessarily have to decline simply because they are grown. Trivior, steady strength, and quiet faith can still be among the strongest influences in their lives. The first Christ-like means to regain respect is to react with calmness rather than reaction. Whenever passions are inflamed or your child is speaking abusively, your instinct may be to correct or assert yourself. But Proverbs 15:1 tells that a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. That is, your gentle response will have a greater effect than your justification ever will. Just think about this scenario. Your son yells at you, "Mom, stop telling me what to do." It stings, but rather than saying, "Don't speak to me that way," you breathe deeply and simply remark, "I get it. I just want what is best for you." That peace, that holding back, can diffuse tension more quickly than can any speech. Your peace is not weakness. Your peace is that you are taking the high road. When children witness that you will not counter hatred with hatred, they notice your strengths in a different way, the type that is based on God, not feelings. With time, it calms hearts. You can't have respect where strife is in power, but where peace is always an option, respect will automatically flourish again. The second Christ-like way is to let go of control, but not of connection. God, as parents, especially when we've spent decades guiding our children, it's hard to step back. We remember when they needed us for everything, for food, school, decisions, advice. Now, they're adults, making choices that sometimes make no sense to us. But here's the truth: control creates distance, while love creates influence. Jesus did not force anyone to be his disciple. He invited, he taught, he loved, and let individuals decide. That is all we can do with our mature children. When we try to dictate their conduct, they can move away. But when we show love and trust, even though we are not in agreement, they listen to your grace. Perhaps your daughter makes a choice that concerns you, a financial choice, a relational decision, or even the way she is parenting her children. Rather than preaching or saying, "You're wrong," attempt to say something like, "I'm praying for you, and I believe God will direct your path." That is a form of humility that will perhaps have a louder voice than correction ever will. Your kids might not tell you directly, but at their heart, they will recall that you honored their adulthood, and that due respect will frequently be given in return. Trust is infectious. By trusting God's hand in their lives, you release the tension that arises from the attempt to be the fixer, and instead become the intercessor, pray warrior God appointed you to be. The third Christ-like manner is to live by the example that you pray they will live by. Occasionally, words will not restore respect, actions will. You can instruct about honor, but as your kids observe patience, thanks, and kindness demonstrated in your life, that tells them who they are, that tells them that your belief is not merely discussed, it is lived. Maybe they stopped calling or visiting so frequently. Maybe you feel invisible. Instead of letting resentment accumulate, show them with actions that you are still steady, still grateful, still grounded in God's love. Keep showing up with love, not a sense of duty. Keep following through with consistency, not with a sense of reactance. Jesus did not have to prove his value. He proved it by kneeling to wash men's feet, by forgiving men who betrayed him, by acting in a flow of compassion even when they wronged him. If you lead that kind of humility, it is not possible not to earn respect in the long run. If your children are away, try a humble note or message that says, "I'm proud of you." "No, I wish you'd call back a lot more times." Or, "I miss the way things used to be." Just pure encouragement, no agenda. That small act plants a seed. It won't necessarily perk up overnight, but love like that is not forgotten long. Keep in mind, winning back respect is not a matter of entitlement, but rather letting Christ shine so brightly that hearts can't help but take notice. Even with kids that are hardened or unresponsive, your consistent faith is a quiet witness. It will take a while, perhaps, but the Spirit works in secret power through love, patience, and demonstration. And perhaps that is where you are being tested at this very moment, in your patience. But every test is also a challenge from God to become more like the Son. Every harsh word, every call that is not returned, every time you long to rage but instead opt for peace, that is spiritual maturity at work. And the result of that obedience, restoration. There is a point in every parent's life where silence is the most difficult aspect, where you have attempted to reach out, attempted to love, attempted to speak kindly, and nevertheless, your adult child withholds their affection or speaks with impunity. You will question yourself with the phrase, "Does love mean anything anymore?" But recall that love that resembles Christ will not quit. It deepens, becomes wiser, and calmer with each tempest. The fourth Christ-like way to regain respect is to forgive holistically, spontaneously, with no scoreboard. It doesn't mean that you agree with the manner they treated you. It doesn't erase the hurt or abuse or invalidate that anything ever happened. It simply means that you are choosing not to let bitterness mar your peace. You understand, bitterness is like swallowing poison, hoping someone else will get sick. You just become that little bit more calloused. And that is just what the enemy is desiring. He was betrayed, denied, and scorned even by those closest to him. And nonetheless, then he prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." If they can be forgiven by him whose power can remove thorns that hold him pinned to a cross, can we not, then, with his power forgive words that wound or pride that is bruised? By forgiving you, free yourself first. And that freedom translates into words, tone, and even presence. Picture your son or daughter, seeing that you no longer are carrying a grudge, that you can speak, that you can smile, that you can pray for them with ease. That forgiveness speaks volumes. It says, "I'm not holding you captive with the past. I'm trusting God with the future." Occasionally, your grown children are expecting for you to remain angry, to leave the barriers in place. But when you catch them off guard with peace, that begins to soften their heart, even if they will not ever say so. Forgiveness is not immediate reunification. It is making room where reunification can take place. The fifth Christ-like approach is putting soft boundaries, not ones put up under guilt, but under grace. Even good parents confuse peace with passivity, thinking, "If I just keep quiet, maybe everything will work itself out." But peace and quiet was never a confusion for Jesus. Rather, he spoke truth in love, and that is what boundaries are. Truth in love. It is not unkind to tell your adult child that they are speaking to you disrespectfully and say, "I love you, but there is no way that I can possibly have this conversation with meanness. Let's put the brakes on this and try again sometime." That is not controlling, that is self-care. You are teaching them how to treat you, just as Christ teaches how to love each other. It's boundaries that safeguard love, not that they are toxic to love. Consider a garden. Unless there are boundaries, weeds just grow willy-nilly and suffocate the blooms. But with a fence put up not to imprison, but to safeguard, then everything within flourishes. Same with relationships. Maybe you have been afraid to say no, thinking that you will lose contact. But saying no is not alienating. It gives them a clear way back to healthy contact. When your child sees that your boundaries are rooted in love, not anger, they understand that your self-respect is not rebellion, it is righteousness. If you have been too selfless, always a yes, always a presence, even at the expense of running on fumes, maybe you just have to take a deep breath and say, "I love to help, but I have to rest too." That little phrase exhibits something great: equilibrium. Even the Lord drew back away from the multitudes to pray and rest. Even the Savior drew boundaries in order to retain his peace. And the sixth Christ-like way is the strongest of them all. Ask for God's presence in the relationship on a daily basis, not with long orations, not with contrived small talk, but with prayer, gentle, daily prayer. Because at times the struggle isn't with your child, but with love and pride. with misunderstanding and with understanding, and with spiritual wars that can't be won with anything less than the power that God offers. Each time that you pray for your child, you are letting go of control back to the one who created them. You are saying, Lord, I can't do anything about their heart. You can. That release is calling heaven into your house in ways that you might not experience initially, but will perceive. You will experience more peace in your mind, more kindness in your voice, more power in your patience. Don't pray for their attitude, pray for their heart. Pray that God helps them remember who they are, not their parent, but a vessel for His love. And while you pray, also ask Him to reveal to you how you can become different, because respect really does increase when humility goes hand in hand with faith. You'd be amazed occasionally. When we relax and quit trying to force communication and instead pray silently, the phone will ring, a message will come in, hearts will soften, because where God is allowed in, walls come down. That there is something incredibly lovely about a parent that will not allow bitterness to become the narrative. A parent that will declare, I will love you in the silence, in the distance, in the hurt. That is a level of faith that honors God more than any debate ever can. Combine relaxed responses, yielded control, Christ-like example, forgiveness, healthy boundaries, and prayer, and something miraculous happens. You no longer desire respect, you experience it. Your children no longer perceive a parent, they behold the likeness of Christ's gentleness, consistency, and strength. And perhaps, on that day their storm arrives, they will recall how yours was managed. They will remember the way you kept your peace while they were unkind, the way you forgave even though they did not merit it, the way you prayed rather than stormed. And that recollection, that testimony, will point them not merely to you, but to Him. Thus, if your heart feels heavy due to the fact that your children have gone astray, take this to heart. God is not finished with your family yet. The lost respect can be restored, not with pride or with power, but with prayer and with patience. We are not required to lecture, demonstrate, or apologize. We simply live love out, we live grace out, and hope that eventually God will heal the broken. If this message awakened your heart today, take a minute to whisper a humble prayer. Lord, make me respond like you would. Lord, make me love like you love. That is where the heart change begins, in the quiet moments of yielding. And if that touched a chord with you, then rest assured that you are not alone. There are many other parents out there walking this same road and learning to love their adult children with eyes of faith and long-suffering. You might even feel inclined to leave a comment on how God has aided you during your family emergencies. Your testimonial can encourage someone else having a rough spot at the moment. Before you leave, be sure to like this video, subscribe for even more spiritual encouragement, and activate notifications so that you'll never miss a message of hope. Because God is not done with your relationships, and peace and love and respect will be restored, minute by minute, act by act, prayer by prayer.